Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the February 26th edition of Carolina Week, UNC students danced all night and all day during Carolina's biggest marathon fundraiser.
I'm Andrew Gordon. Coming up, I'll show you the spots on campus most prone to bicycle theft.
In sports, the Lady Tar Heels stormed into Cameron Indoor with revenge on their minds.
Mallory Nichols will have your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and some UNC stunt people. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Alex Villarreal.
And I'm Jessica Floyd. Thanks for joining us.
UNC students are used to being on their feet for a basketball game, but how many of us would actually volunteer to stand for 24 hours straight? Bill Clayton was there for the draining but rewarding dance marathon.
Students packed into Fetzer Gym on Friday night to begin the 9th annual UNC Dance Marathon. Dance Marathon is the culmination of a year-long fundraising effort benefiting the North Carolina Children's Hospital. The marathon is the largest student-run philanthropy event on campus and has achieved some amazing milestones since it began 9 years ago.
UNC students like these have helped raise more than $1 million since Dance Marathon began in 1999. All that money goes to help treat more than 72,000 children at the North Carolina Children's Hospital every year.
The 24-hour event has only one rule: you can't sit down. Students played games, sang, and danced to show their support for the children and families of the North Carolina Children's Hospital. This was UNC senior Justin Savesky's third marathon, and he says he keeps coming back for one reason.
Every time, it's so rewarding. It's tough at times, it really is, but at the end of the day, when everything's all said and done, it's just a great feeling, and it's nice to know that you've helped out so many families.
Students received a special visit from some of the children and families who've benefited from Dance Marathon fundraising. Parents told their stories and offered their thanks to UNC students.
What you have done, what you are doing, truly makes a difference.
We just had the challenge of facing the reality that our babies may not come home with us. The dedication and the love and compassion that we found at UNC. They never gave up on us and they never gave up on our girls.
You know, it's very inspirational as a parent and as a father to see so many young people so actively involved in trying to raise money to help children out, just like these two right here.
Students cheered as the marathon drew to a close. The total amount raised by this year's Dance Marathon was more than $236,000. In Chapel Hill, I'm Bill Clayton, Carolina Week.
From dancing all night to sitting all day, one group of students is pit sitting for National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. Students helping to achieve positive esteem, or SHAPE, is gearing up for a week of events. The group plans to educate students about how to help friends with eating disorders and also to promote positive self-image. Every day this week, members of SHAPE will hand out flyers for nightly events and answer questions. Events kick off tonight with a celebration of everybody.
Tickets to the Duke-Carolina basketball game are in high demand, and officials want to make sure UNC seniors and graduating grad students get first dibs. So for this big game, students can't print tickets, but instead must show up in person at the Dean Smith Center. They must present 2 valid Senior One cards to retrieve their Duke tickets. Although tickets are a little harder to get, most seniors don't mind the extra effort as long as it gets them into the game.
It's something that you wait all your career at Carolina for, and if it's just one more way to make sure that it's seniors who get the privilege, it's not that big of a deal.
Seniors with last names beginning with A through L can pick up their tickets today. M through Z pickup is tomorrow, and all those who couldn't make it Monday or Tuesday have one more chance on Wednesday.
UNC's Kenan-Flagler Business School always ranks among the top B schools in the country, but you wouldn't know it by reading the latest edition of Fortune magazine. Each year, Fortune lists the nation's top 50 best business schools. This year, Duke came in at number 7, NC State was 25th, and Wake Forest snuck in at number 49. Well, where's Kenan-Flagler, you may ask? Well, not on the list. Fortune says the company that compiled it forgot to include UNC Chapel Hill. The magazine insists the Kenan-Flagler Business School will be on next year's list.
There's still sadness on campus a year after 2 UNC students crashed through a dorm window and fell 3 stories. One student didn't survive.
The worst thing I've ever gone through in my whole life. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
1 year ago, yellow tape surrounded the area where 2 UNC students, Tyler Downey and Keith Sean Smith, fell through a 3rd-floor window of Stacy Dormitory. Downey survived the accident, and although Smith did not, his legacy as a resident assistant in Stacy Dorm will always be remembered.
Especially his residence on the 3rd floor. Like, I really feel like he totally left a legacy for them, and he had known them 6 months. Like, that's huge. Not many people can say that they can meet somebody for 6 months and really impact their life.
L'Oreal Neal knew Smith better than anyone else. She is now an RA in Craig Dormitory. Even now, she smiles when she thinks about him. Neal and Smith were high school sweethearts. She says Smith inspired her.
A lot of things that I used to pick on him about, I now admire about him so much. Like, he used to post things on the wall like 3.5 GPA or get your head up or like just weird stuff. And I'd be like, why are you doing that? And now, like, I find myself posting notes for me to like encourage me.
Neal says family, friends, and her faith have helped her get through the past year. Despite all the support, Neal says she feels alone sometimes.
Since I've been going through this, I've really realized that I'm the type of person who wants to talk about it. I want to know that people still remember Keith. I want to know that people still care.
You can show how much you care by attending a memorial program for Keith Sean Smith tonight at 7 p.m. in the Union Auditorium. To find out how to donate to the Keith Sean Smith Memorial Fund, visit our website, carolinaweek.org. Since the accident at Stacy Dorm, UNC officials have worked hard to implement new safety measures for buildings across campus. Student housing officials have installed these rails in about 100 windows across campus. The windows, like the ones in Stacy, have seals less than 3 feet off the floor. The new regulation affects about 40 buildings in UNC. Assistant Director of Housing Rick Bradley says the railings represent an increased emphasis on student safety 1 year after the tragedy.
The buildings and the windows meet current code standards. It's the attempts that we're taking is to go beyond that and to make them as safe as possible.
Bradley says workers are currently installing 9 other railings and 10 more are on order.
The man in charge of keeping UNC safe is leaving Chapel Hill and taking his expertise to the national level. John Pope joins us live from the Department of Public Safety with the story. Well, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties, but we should be getting that package rolling for you in just a second.
Is retiring to take a new job in Homeland Security with the FCC.
Derek Porch came to UNC in 1998 to be Director of Public Safety. Since that time, the campus has seen a 35% drop in crime. Awards and degrees hang on his office wall commending him for 30 years of service in law enforcement. But Porch will retire from the DPS at the end of March, and he'll be moving up to a federal agency.
It's time to move on. The department's in good shape. I'm eligible to retire. There are good people here within the organization, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter.
Porch begins his new job on April 1st.
So John, what exactly will Porch be doing for the FCC?
Well, Alex, he's the new Bureau Chief for Public Safety and Homeland Security for the FCC. There he'll be unifying all 911 communications and managing, obviously, public safety, Homeland Security, but also disaster management and disaster planning.
John Pope reporting from DPS headquarters. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Alex.
Well, it certainly sounds like there are going to be a lot of changes around here. When we come back,
we will show you how you can help clamp down on bike theft.
To a child, a little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
That's why